One of the most important changes at AMC right now aren't on the charts, but in the background, quietly, while false news and selective data keep everyone busy. Because the difference between what's being told and what's happening is too big to ignore. We're going to talk about short swapping, moving capital into AMC, rising pressure on short positions, and why the story that's being told doesn't match up with the numbers. A recent story said that AMC went up about 7.6% during the day, hitting about $151, while trading about 21.96 million shares, which was 48% less than its normal session volume. While that sounds official and true at first glance, the truth is very different. That day, AMC did not move 21.9 million shares. About 70 million shares were moved. That's not a small difference, and you shouldn't ignore it. That low level of volume gives the story the chance to make it seem like people are losing interest in AMC, which isn't true. If they told the truth about the volume number, they couldn't then say that trading was weak or below average, because high traffic on a green day means that people are buying, not losing interest. That's where the setting becomes clear. After saying that analysts are mostly negative, the article goes right into familiar ground by saying that the company's fundamentals are still weak and naming other stocks that the authors say are better than AMC. This pattern happens over and over. Analysts would expect a lot of trading on red days and not much trading on green days if the market really agreed with them. What we keep seeing, though, is strong volume when AMC goes up, which goes against a negative story they're telling. Even more, another story said that AMC fell more than the market as a whole, even though the ticker showed that AMC was up more than 6%. Just seeing that conflict should make you think. It doesn't seem like analysis as much as it does like an attempt to trust that people will read the headlines without checking the facts. It looks like the goal is to make you think badly of them, even though the numbers don't support that. This is why it's important to do your own research. Every time AMC does something good, a lot of pieces come out that change the story to make them look bad. What these stories don't talk about is even more telling. Even though dark pool behavior is one of the most important things that affects AMC's price action, they don't talk about it. More than 80% of AMC's trade volume, or more than 30 million shares, went through dark pools at one point during the day. That much trade outside of exchange is crazy, and it does affect how prices are found. That's where the attention would be if the goal was honest reporting. But bringing it up would lead to uncomfortable questions about silencing, so it's not talked about. Another part of this that a lot of people miss is the role of algorithms. These days, trading systems instantly read the news and figure out how people feel about it. It doesn't matter to them if a story is 100% true. It matters to them whether the tone is good or bad. When AMC is constantly linked to bad news stories, even if the stories don't tell the whole story, those stories can directly affect automated decisions to sell or short the stock. Besides that, these stories make new investors less likely to join. If someone did a quick search on AMC, they might only find negative results and think the company is failing without ever looking any further. People who have held on for a long time know that story isn't true, but new buyers may never know that because they won't be around long enough. But even though experts are said to be bearish, the way institutions act shows a very different picture. Firms like UBS and Pentwater Discovery have taken on big roles in AMC. People in power don't do that if they think a company has no future. What's even more interesting is that some companies that were short AMC have now opened long positions. That change alone makes the bearish expert story less plausible. Still, it's not talked about much. The focus goes on bad things instead of pointing out that institutional ownership is growing. This brings up the idea of trading shares, especially when it's done over the counter. With these deals, institutions can trade shares with each other directly without going through a public market. So they can move shares without changing the price that can be seen on the market. We've seen proof of this kind of behavior before. It lets people quietly and easily trade shares when there's no need to. Things change completely, though, when shorts are desperate for shares. That's when institutions that own shares have a lot of debt, and swaps aren't cheap anymore. In a real squeeze, everyone looks out for themselves, and businesses will try to make as much money as possible instead of helping each other. Bank of America is another example that fits with this idea pretty well. Even though some news stories say people are losing hope, Bank of America owns millions of AMC shares. Having that many shares wouldn't make sense if AMC was really doomed. Risk control is one possible reason. Citadel works with Bank of America as its main broker, and the company has a big short position in AMC. Having AMC shares gives you options for banking, hedging, or limiting your risk if things start to go wrong. Even Citadel has bought more shares in AMC, which goes against what analysts say will happen, and supports the idea that institutions are putting their plans in place quietly instead of letting everyone know. Take a look at the bigger market now. There's a big flush across all assets. Bitcoin has dropped a lot, breaking below important marks and going as low as 60,000. It dropped more than $300 billion in value in one day, and more than $2 billion in leveraged positions were closed in that time. This is important because crypto has been used as security. When collateral goes down in value, margin pressure goes up and capital has to move. In the past, when collateral falls apart, money moves to other areas, and stocks that are heavily shorted, like AMC and GME, become pressure spots. Some links even say that big drops in Bitcoin happen at the same time that AMC prices are under a lot of stress. All the while, we're seeing strange things happen with share access. Shares emerge out of nowhere when demand rises, and interest rates drop, which makes sense. That doesn't mean the shares were given back. It means that supply was raised artificially, either by rehypothecation or by making something new. While borrow fees go down, share prices go from almost nothing to over $1 million when they become available. It shows that the system is getting more stretched out and not fixing the real problem. Short interest that is legally reported is already very high. But the size gets much bigger when you add in fake shares, tokenized exposure, and repeated rehypothecation. Over time, that pressure doesn't go away. It grows. Peer companies in the same business move higher even on days when AMC pulls back a little, even though AMC has a lot more dark pool activity. Just that difference alone makes me wonder a lot of things. Even after big price changes, short interest keeps going up. This shows that control is still at work. Also, Michael Burr's comments about putting money to work during times of market stress instead of times when prices are high have recently come back to the surface. Indexes are pulling back, and valuations are falling right now. Major tech stocks are falling strongly. That's when smart capital moves have happened in the past. That helps explain why institutions are also becoming more exposed to GME. When other people see fear, they see opportunity. At the same time, banks are worrying about foreselling and hope that ordinary people will step in to help keep markets stable. But small donors aren't just throwing money around anymore. The focus has shrunk. A lot of metals are also going through big changes. For example, silver dropped over 20% in